Good morning. The Committee on Parole is called back to order. Today's date is April 13th. The time is 10:13. Panel members today are Ms. Pearl Wise, Ms. Bonnie Jackson. My name is Tony Marabella. I'll be acting as chair. Our remote location is the lafourche Work Release Program. Would the staff at lafourche please introduce themselves?
Good morning. My name is Sergeant Anthony Adams.
Good morning, Sergeant. Our first case is going to be Mr. Devin Avant. Mr. Avant, if you would introduce yourself and give us your DOC number.
Good morning. My name is Devin Avant, and my DOC number is 763851.
Thank you. Mr. Avant, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow the participants who've indicated they wish to speak to have their input. Your grandfather, Mr. Eddie Peter, is here to speak on your behalf. And we also have in opposition, Mr. Randall Meyer, who is an assistant district attorney in Jefferson Parish, that will be speaking as well. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Devin Avant, DOC number 763851. Mr. Avant's date of birth is March the 31st, 2001. He's classified as a first felony offender. He has an adjusted good time date of August 15th, 2023, and a full term date of August 12th of 2030. He is currently serving a 10-year sentence on the charge of second-degree murder, having been sentenced on October the 20th of 2021. I assume it's attempted second degree. Is that correct, Mr. Avant?
Yes, sir.
Avant, your case has been assigned to Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson, would you please answer any questions Ms. Jackson will have of you?
Excuse me first, Mr. Marabella, Ms. Jackson. It's actually attempted second degree murder. It wasn't second degree murder.
Yes. Sorry, I thought I'd clarify that.
And conspiracy to commit.
All right, Mr. Avant, how are you this morning?
I'm doing just fine. And you?
Okay. How old are you, Mr. Avant?
I just turned 22.
And you've been in jail a little over 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
As I was reading this file, I was very confused about why these two people were targeted and shot. Now, what can you tell me about that?
It was actually a bad decision on my part. Yes,
Why were y'all shooting at these people?
bad. It was all the way bad. It was a whole bad decision on our part, and
Listen to me. What was the reason that you shot at these? You were the driver, but why was anybody shooting at these two people? What was the reason for it? I know it was a bad decision. Why did y'all shoot at these people?
act of retaliation to something else that happened prior to the incident.
And what had happened that you all felt you needed to retaliate?
A cousin of the friend of mine actually got killed by their family member, and things happen like that.
So is that your mindset? Somebody killed somebody and then you're gonna go and kill their family? Where did you get that mindset from?
No, ma'am. At the moment, it was just an act of not thinking at the moment, at the time, and I was very young, so
Nope.
you didn't
Well,
get
went over there, you deliberately had guns. So you did think about it. You knew exactly what you were going to do and you carried it out. That is not thinking. A lot of thought went into that. And I guess I'm trying to understand, why do you think it's okay to shoot people because you think somebody in their family shot, those people had nothing to do with what happened to the guy's cousin. Why would you do that?
I'm actually very sorry for what I did, the act that I played in the whole incident. And I wish I would have been thinking at the moment right and would have been able to stop the whole incident from even taking place. But I do full responsibility for my actions.
You were the driver, and so if you hadn't taken him over there, you
No,
would have been involved and it wouldn't have happened.
I actually wasn't the driver. I wasn't in the car of that at all. I wasn't the driver.
Well, that's what my record shows, that you were identified as the driver.
No, ma'am, I actually wasn't the driver. I was on the scene, but I wasn't the driver at all.
In the car?
I wasn't in that car at all. The car that actually fulfilled the incident. I wasn't in that car. I was in another car.
Why were you going over there?
We actually went over there to see if the people was out, was around. That's what the incident I played in. I didn't actually have a gun or shoot anyone or anything like that.
But you wanted to make sure they were there so that people who were going to shoot him would know to come.
Yes, ma'am.
What were you doing? I mean, what were you working? Were you in school? What were you doing with your life when you made this decision?
Actually, I just actually quit my job because things slowed down due to the COVID rising. So I was just getting, I was trying to find another job, but at the time I didn't have another job, but I was getting unemployment and I had my own apartment with my brother and helping my brother get to fro work. And actually I was taking care of my bills and my household.
And what kind of job did you quit?
I was working at the old folks home on Manhattan, and then I quit that job and got a better paying job at Red, White, and Blue thrift shop on LaPalco in Gretna.
Okay, and that's the job you quit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you could get more on unemployment than you could get at the job, basically. That's what happened?
Yes, ma'am. It actually slowed down. My hours got cut a lot due to the COVID rising and stuff like that. So people weren't really coming into the store, so I just quit.
And how far did you go in school?
I actually got a high school diploma.
Now, you've been at that facility the whole time?
No, ma'am. I actually started off in when I got shipped, I went to La Place.
Okay, but that was a parish facility, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're in a parish facility now, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What programs have been available to you over the last couple of years?
I actually finished 2 programs. I actually have parenting and Cajun Raids, and I just enrolled in college previously.
What kind of college?
Business management. I'm waiting on the people to get back to me with the rest of the information.
What school is that?
I actually don't remember the name. It was a school that goes through this jail here.
Is it Ashland?
Yeah, I think it is. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Mr. Avant, I'm glad to see that you are making some efforts to better yourself. Have a moderate risk. You've taken some programs, but you got to get out on August the 15th of this year. Regardless of what this board does, if we deny you, you're going to get out on August 15th. And quite frankly, given the severity of the charge, I think you need to serve until August 15th, and I'm going to encourage you while you're in there to continue to work on pursuing your education. Now, you strike me as a very intelligent young man. You express yourself very well. You appear to have a lot of potential. But up until this point, you haven't made the most of that potential. I am hoping that this time in prison will be an eye-opening experience for you and show you that this is not the life that you want for yourself, and it will motivate you to do something better. But for me today, I'm just not thinking now is the time. But I'm going to listen to what everybody else has to say. Mr. Marabella, that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Now we'll hear from your grandfather, Mr. Eddie Peter. Mr. Peter? Peter, can you hear us?
Here, there we go. I can hear you. I was trying to get my mic to come up so I can turn it on. Yes. How are you all today?
We're doing very well. Thank you, sir.
That's
Could you
good to
please
hear.
introduce yourself and just tell us what you'd like us to know about your grandson?
Yes, my name is Eddie Peter, and Devin is my youngest grandson, and he's a good kid. He made a mistake associating with some people that he weren't accustomed to associating with, and the situation that he's in now is the result of that. But the redemption, if there should be one and is one, is that he was able to admit his participation in the unfortunate incident. He's a loving kid. Everyone, if you could go into the community and get a character reference of him, it would be glowing, okay? Because his participation with that group was not lengthy. And it was just an unfortunate situation, which since he's been incarcerated, it has helped to open his eyes and realize his mistake. And I'm hoping that you all can find it in your hearts to recognize that we all aren't lost by the first mistakes that we make in life. We live and we learn, and he has done that. And I'm hoping that when he, in the future, that his endeavors will prove this to be the truth and show his honest and real character. And so I'm hoping for whatever positive consideration you all can give him. One thing else I would like to say, and then I will end it, is that he was not in the vehicle that actually did the injuring of the people. He was in another vehicle, and that was sent to provide the location of the victims. Okay, so he wasn't a real participant. He just made a dumb move, a mistake. That's it. And so the situation he in is not representative of his character, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. It's not a true representation of his character.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. We appreciate your comments, sir. Now we hear from Mr. Randy Meyer. Meyer?
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. In listening to Ms. Jackson's questioning and her comments, I agree with pretty much 100% with everything she said. So what happened here is Mr. Avant really wasn't being as forthcoming, I think, as he should have been, particularly with Ms. Jackson's questions. This was a gang-related incident. He was participating with the Strictly Business Family Gang, SBF gang. And because I believe it was the child of these victims allegedly killed a member of some friend of theirs, that they were retaliating against him, and told those folks that the threats were that they were going to shoot him and his family up. And that's what they went and did. He was not in the vehicle that with the guys that had the gun, but he participated in this action, and he was part of the lookout group. That's what his participation was. We look at there's strong victim opposition to his release. His programming is limited, and I agree with what Ms. Jackson was saying. It'd be good for him to continue with his education and continue trying to make the strides that he's trying to do. I would request that maybe y'all could issue a diminution of sentence upon his good time release to not have contact with those gang members. If this was as his grandfather said, he hadn't been involved with those people long, it probably would be good to tell him he can't be involved with those people. And that would help him to stay clear of them and hopefully continue to rehabilitate himself and be a productive member of society. So today we're opposed to his request for parole. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Avant, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Yeah, I actually wrote something, and I just really wanted to read it to you all, even though you guys denied my parole. I still would like to read this.
Okay, we'd be glad to hear it.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Devin Avant, and I am currently 22 years old. I have been incarcerated since August 12, 2020, and my current release date is August 11, 2023. I am here today to ask the parole board to believe in me and grant my parole release. Since being incarcerated, I have had this time to grow and mature. I look back at my old actions and know that I was young and dumb with a lack of guidance. I have had time to sit down and think about life, and I have taken full responsibility for my actions, and I'm sorry for any harm I caused anybody. I now see life for the blessing it really is, and know that if I would have stayed on the path I was on, there's no telling what my future held. I haven't had any infractions since I've been in jail, and I was on trustee for 4 months and got sent to work release since January 23rd. I am now ready to show change and rehabilitation. Since my incarceration, I have completed the following classes: Cage of Rage and parenting as well. I also have my high school diploma, and I have a welding and a warehouse job at Cisco's opportunity waiting on me. I am asking for this opportunity to show that I have changed and have no problem being a law-abiding citizen.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Avant. Appreciate your comments. Board ready to vote? Ms. Jackson?
All right, Mr. Avant, as I told you, I am going to deny, but that's not because of a lack of recognition of growth. It's not. One of the things we have to learn in life is that there are consequences for our actions. And we have to be willing to accept the consequences if we're going to take the action. Imagine what would have happened if instead of those people being hit in the arm and the leg, they had both been killed. Can you imagine the devastation that would have caused so many people, including your family, because you would be in prison for murder. This was no small thing. It's a terrible thing. And as I said, you are a young man who appears to have a lot of potential. And I don't know why you would gravitate to people involved in kind of activity. You seem to have a good family background. You graduated from high school. You're very articulate. You speak well. You write well. You've done well in the work environment. So let those kind of things be your choice. But you only, given the seriousness of this crime, the amount of time you're serving is really negligible, considering just how serious this was in a traffic, and you will be home in August. Make the most of your work release job. Make the most of your educational opportunities and pick up your head. Stop dropping your head. You know, this isn't a indictment of you as a human. I think you have a lot of potential. But I also think you did a terrible thing and you experience the consequences of that, so that in the future, you'll think about this and say, I don't want that life for myself anymore. So my vote today is deny because you more program, seriousness of offense, the proximity to time release date, and strong opposition. And upon your time release, I'm going to order that you have no contact with any members of SBF gang. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Wise?
Ms. Avant, I listened to you when you made your statement. You said you wanted us to believe in you. I want you to know I believe in you. The other statement that you made is that you were there because of a lack of guidance, and your grandfather is. No gang member is here. Your grandfather is. Mr. Peters is here. I don't get that. You need to reevaluate that. What guidance that you had. I just lost my sister last month. We don't have as much time as we think we have. I want to encourage you to spend more time with your grandfather. Let him be your gang. You and him become a gang.
Yes, ma'am.
But for the purposes of today, I can concur. My vote is to deny because of the proximity to the good time date, the nature of the offense, and the impact of the crime. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Avant, I agree with both of my colleagues and everything you said. You do have a lot of potential. I wish you the best. I hope you take advantage of the time that left. And to follow up on the thing that both Ms. Jackson and Wise have told. So your parole is denied today. When you are released conditionally, you will have no contact whatsoever with the SBF gang. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Good luck to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
His grandfather's so sweet. I don't know if you heard him at the end of the speech. I think he said at the end of his son's letter, I think he said, beautiful. There's nothing like the love of family. And, you know, it's interesting, but it's just youth. When you're so young, everything seems time. The idea that he's going to get out in August, I think it's one more year in August, not this coming up August, right? It seems like forever, but I'm not sure if he realizes even at this moment how lucky he is. I mean, he really got what you would call just a slap on the wrist. There was a judge that saw him as maybe someone who was not a full-on gangbanger, who does come from a good family, who has job skills and was working, who, you know, got through high school, and maybe a peer pressure moment. I don't know. Do you think that he was full-on gangbanging? And I wonder how that works. You can have a parole board give you all the warnings you like, but once he gets out, you know they're going to come looking for him. And I don't know how you navigate that without leaving the state. You know, I just don't know how that works. If anyone has insight into it, please let me know. But here is the article I found. on the case, or at least just his specific involvement. So he was arrested in the Maria shooting that injured. They shot at a 60-year-old man and this 59-year-old wife. Punks. He was booked through. Oh, come on, more of this pop-up crap. They were standing in their driveway when a vehicle with several people pulled and fired at them. The man suffered a gunshot wound to his arm and leg. The woman was shot in the leg. Both are expected to recover. I tried finding, some more details, but it's always easy for us to read about someone getting shot in their arm and their leg, but you don't just recover from that. It's for the rest of their life. They could be dealing with the pain. He may never walk again without a limp. Maybe, it's depending on where it went and the size of the caliber, and it's just, it was attempted murder, but they wrecked their lives and their physical health forever. You don't just recover from that. Not to mention the PTSD and the fear, the absolute terror. You're in your own driveway of your own house, and you had nothing to do with any of it. I like to think that the judge made the right decision here. I thought it was, that I'm sure that other people in this gang got more severe sentences. The SBF gang. Oh, you guys are so cool. You're so cool, SBF gangsters. It's funny when you Google it, SBF Sam Bankman-Fried comes up. Well, that's funny. Even when you type in Louisiana. It's terrible what gangs do, and the violence and destruction. And for what? He is lucky. He really got a slap on the wrist sentence. And hopefully this can be a slap on the wrist for him that changes his life forever. And he will not be involved with the gang, and he can get out of that mess, and he can get to work. And I like what Miss Wise said. Let your grandfather be your gang. I really like that man, Mr. Grandpa Eddie Peter. And I like the questions Miss Jackson was asking him. It's like, but why? She didn't let him just go with, it was irresponsible. No, tell us why. Why? I don't know if it's true, but you hear about it, how old school gangsters, they used to have rules. And so they were vicious, they were murderers, they were killers, they were everything bad, but they had rules. And you wouldn't attack family members. You wouldn't attack anyone unless it was directly involved. And why do you have those rules? You have those rules so it creates, there's a game and you got to play in the game. And when you participate, it's on you. But to involve family members, to involve relatives of someone that had nothing to do with it, it's just, you just go into complete chaos. No one's safe. There are no more rules. And we're just failing as a society. I read about it every day in the paper. Some child that's killed in New York City, in Times Square, because you have gangs that are pulling out guns and shooting at each other in crowded places. And then you read that they get bailed out, the same person, only to commit another murder just a month later. It's like this pendulum that we swing on in how we try cases. First, we lock purse snatchers up or possession charges up. We lock them away with life sentences. Then we realize, oh, wait a minute, that's pretty dumb. And then we don't lock people up who are killing people. And he's at work release. I mean, he got it good, man. Now, I get it. He wasn't the shooter. He was a lookout. I tend to like the sentence. It seems to me that the judge actually looked at this unique case and realized that this is not someone you should just throw away in a hardcore system and really make a criminal out of him. I think that this is probably, it's just the impression. It's just a few minutes. What do we know? But from the interaction with his grandfather and how he acted and the whole thing, it feels like, you know what? Hopefully he just really was caught up, didn't really realize what he got himself into, thought he was being cool, and he learned his lesson real well. He's at work release. He's making money. I'll be out soon. And hopefully this is the system doing what it should be doing. And hopefully we never hear from this young man ever again on this channel. Love to hear your thoughts. And with that, I'll let you go.